Hello, I'm glad that you've joined us today for a brief devotional moment. I want to share a couple of words from Psalm 34, and I'm going to begin with the first verse and then skip to the 8th verse. And David writes, I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will be on my lips. My soul will boast in the Lord. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. And then verse 8, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in God. When I was in high school, we had a special guest Sunday school teacher one Sunday. We didn't know about it beforehand, and we weren't excited when we found out who the teacher was, Dr. Morris. Dr. Morris, who is an active man in the life of our church there, was a well-known cardiovascular surgeon in the city. He was a very well-educated man, a very intellectual person. I'd heard my parents talk about him in their Sunday school class, and so when we saw Dr. Morris, we weren't very excited because we just knew Sunday school was going to be boring that day. But he did bring a delightful gift, a mysterious box. He opened that box and it was donuts. So we were all pleased. We were beginning in a good way, and while we were giggling and talking, getting our donuts, Dr. Morris held up one of the donuts and he said, what does this donut and God have in common? I'm not sure we thought he was even serious at first, but he asked the question again, and you can imagine high school boys and girls with sarcastic answers. They're both round. I don't know where that came from. Somebody suggested, I suppose, because a donut is something you eat, somebody suggested it's like communion. Well, he then took a bite. Dr. Morris took a bite of the donut. It was a jelly-filled donut, and jelly came down the sides of his cheek and chin, and I think some of it dropped on the floor. He closed his eyes and said, mmm. And once he finished eating that, he held up the donut and he said, you know, it doesn't look like anything special on the outside, does it? But when you bite into it, that jelly, on the taste buds, it sends signals in our brains, it releases endorphins, and we say to ourselves, yummy. And then he started talking about how that is our experience with God. If you bring up God in a sentence or with a group of people, it sounds so boring, maybe even oppressive. When you talk about studying the Bible, just that very word study makes you think of school, again, equated with boring. But once you get to know God, as David wrote, taste and see that the Lord is good. Being a follower of Jesus Christ isn't about following a bunch of rules and doing things we don't really want to do. It's about experiencing the living God who is good and graceful, delightful. Open yourself, open your spirit today to our delightful God, won't you? Taste and see that the Lord is good. Glory be to God.